That's Farina, right over there.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I am so... Give up, Farina. I'm sorry. But what can I even do? Other... Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. Farina, you were crying.
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized... They even dare to tout their Archon! I must... Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marish Dose
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just... That's against the rule.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up. This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come...
What? Oh,
Hurry, they're almost...
fine. I suppose haste is... I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm.
Yep, that's...
What's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind...
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's me...
Yeah, but the people... It's true. I've been investigating. I once had informants all over Tevat. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. Especially fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the end. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly...
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, and if Tevat is, in its entirety, a
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god.
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a... I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina!
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I too. But now, it is time for the Hydro Arc. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world this time. Applaud and rejoice. What? Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making... Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Also, please allow me to ask, just how much work did you...
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning, they changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is... Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when some... So, we arranged for a second...
So, you mean... the one...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally...
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese. The volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary...
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull the... We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervila, you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage.
Thank you.
As for you, traveler, I suppose you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument! Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence. This is the first time Monsieur Neuvillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Neuvillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Neuvillette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Huh. An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Neverlet?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case. sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case. You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current... While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide—
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar! I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved! Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true,
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our aunts?
Enough! That's enough! Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be
Wow, she came up with yet another... That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. doesn't sound right. It has been established that all Fontainians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontainian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you put...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am...
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a... That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did a... However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to... We don't want anyone else to lose...
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used.
I can't... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon... Also, if I was really just... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point.
With all the things that have been said,
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway her. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontейн. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's...
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still...
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission...
Is that the first? Huh. So the name...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing...
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontейн up until this point can be traced back to the However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon, wasn't it? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her... This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking into the sea surround... That reminds Paimon, didn't... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve. Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing? The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontainians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
they'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this... Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine... Huh? Oh, Paimon it now? So that's how you can make sense. But then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that that could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Well? Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death after—
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be—
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate—
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your— About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fort— However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already— This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
It was both dream and...
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the star. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, and once it has finished consuming all—
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontaine—
Precisely. That whale finds the Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food.
We just barely managed to push it back, right?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank— From the way he looked, he must have been
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connect. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster—
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could—
That's not— We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last
Indeed, that's not how a grand
I'll fight it to the end. No matter—
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has... Just as prophecies... Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future.
What's happening with the aura trees?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Furina! No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Furina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment.
Fusolo. Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, It was a rather impossible situation. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of, between the task of saving the nation. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I—
So you were also once one of the Oceanids?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as not— The me you see before you now is that divinity. She could feel joy, sorrow, and her strengths were of a kind but in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. Anyway, so then I cursed— all part of the plan, of course. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, under the curse I placed on her, so long as Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is—
But Furina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology. It's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time. Oh, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right, it is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off. I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontainians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the— Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Adorn my night! The wind knows me.
Eat this!
Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds call.
Hey! that gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
As one with wind and cloud! The wind knows me. Clouds high, the birds call!
You're toast! Born of ice and frost.
Oh, time to go. One with nature. Into the wind.
Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go.
Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy?
The people will all be dissolved into the waters.
Oh.
What's going on?
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
But doesn't that mean everyone...
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world I will tell you how to save everyone.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one...
I suppose this would also be the Huh? Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has...
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way up.
But how will I do this? A human...
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn being a human yourself. I'm sure you remember. Your true challenge will not be...
I'm still not sure. So, how long...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay, but I promise you, all...
A trial, huh? The Maison Cardinalise has announced... What should I say to most appear like a... Ladies, I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or this, I thought I might stammer, but thankfully
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone's right? Mirmi said that I should calm down, Farina. Assertive, with a strong... Now, I was wondering if some weak... Well, it seems that you would all see right through. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. Now then,
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera?
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. But my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice, the scales of justice, should not weigh heavy in the head. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble in this world that so long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as a summary of the...
Come now. Besides, none of these
if I may be so impertinent.
A magnificent, dramatic...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. All right. Oh, I'm afraid that's just an... All right. Deuteria, is it?
He's doing much better now. In fact, he is far...
Oh, good. Very good.
You're such a gentle and...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy...
Well, as I understand it...
Really?
I'm... afraid...
Oh, is that so? Well... The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment, but it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep... All right, Farina, don't think too hard about this.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me in... I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was...
And what a fine family. What is...
Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder.
So interminable. So lonely. Hundreds of years must have passed. I never imagined that it would hurt so have I reached my limit. No. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, I've heard that you can. And if Tavat is in its entire. He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't? But if things don't play out as expected, no, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if... What, Farina? You've worked so hard. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no—
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice. It now seems that that person was—
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so. Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years, but really, some have already discovered that only the vast majority had to be.
It was all a part of your plan.
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focolo. The destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the—
But—
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you—
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principle stole the power you ancient I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Judex Nervalette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just...
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't...
It's time to end this. We must meet...
Can you say just a moment?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out just the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast, come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Into the wind!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
This is long overdue. Let's dance.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Come on, we can do it. No touching.
One with nature. Clouds high, the birds call.
Blaze over.
Into the wind. One with nature. Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and... Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point. But they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was,
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other... So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an... That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And all in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point being...
Well, being that this... So what sort of person is your master? Well...
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, his name is Sir Tologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe...
The foul?
Still nothing? Well...
Oh, that one we've heard! Rhine Doctor's part of the...
Oh, so you do know that name. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely...
Wait! Didn't you also mention a vision?
Actually, never mind that. I believe that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface, in other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
The Soil Renewed! The Spina di Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Old Soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope Skyship Winglet, lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have settled. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Juria or Nav?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people...
Paimon's curious too!
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best
are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first.
Time to go.
Oh, it's you. What brings you all here?
Hey, we're just having a look.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially... But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you...
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers.
Oh, wait, just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about...
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that, Miss Shaw.
I see you're the same as always.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the traffic.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And smile.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to... Also, not to brag, but I'm
Wow, you really do...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess, too. I asked Sijuin...
That's a... very...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was... I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. And
stay safe now. And tell me if...
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feel.
Looks like you've been missing it.
Duke! Did you come all the way?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke!
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of...
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so...
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear...
Sir, please don't...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I am the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the... Still, if I might ask...
Looks like Charlotte!
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels.
Really? Well, then in that case...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo folk...
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like...
Ah, Siegeween.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure. Come on, Miss Siege.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the front?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's under...
Other than that flying ship, I got a
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun.
I'll just leave the spotlight to you two. I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding the...
He sure did win the...
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad...
Oh, actually...
What change can there be? The Fortress will keep... As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to...
Hey, everyone! The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time.
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the All right. Last stop, the docks. Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together.
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket? What sort of gadget? It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your trick a friend. I wonder. You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have...
oh.
You sure are working hard to help Fremine so...
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step. He'll become a part of our ship.
Lynette, could you come...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone. Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events.
That's all right. We were more...
Oh, I guess you... After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Nervillet opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine...
A diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as... Furthermore, Father did also lend...
Well, that's true, but...
I would agree, but I've also heard that...
So there's some...
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? But back to the topic.
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler.
Are you going to take the Gnosis?
That is our duty as Harp. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not just switching my masks. Is something... Well, that depends on many things. No one true... As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision?
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our...
I would...
The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I guess this must be life. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets and...
Well, guess we sent Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see the Nebula?
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching...
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remember. Alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saying?
It is strange how we're...
Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you. But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragon, Fontainians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant... In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontainians became true
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the Yeah, and in a manner of speaking...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice, whether it was due to that liability by association or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time.
Guess Focalor had Fontainians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally... hang on a second. Paimon, back when Fontainians hadn't yet become real humans, were the
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all...
In truth, even those couples did not know that those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as...
Paimon sorta gets it.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Riley...
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. She simply said that she was tired. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house.
But she...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've...
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice... This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take...
Looks like you're still considering stuff for...
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power, and this duty, as such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest job. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House...
That's true. That power was derived from the people's... Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another...
Wow. This ancient dragon...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a...
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers, their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least the Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more. As such, it has lost all meaning. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their...
What complicated considerations?
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons, such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone... Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravaging. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally. The Harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the...
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will all... Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that we guessed that there might be some reason for it that...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence. So regarding this specific issue, I was In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over soon as well, all right, Nervalet?
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite a novel blend. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you speak of.
Ah, of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
Huh. According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense, which is why there are so many problems in our attempts to communicate with humans. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing, but once a person dies...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts, and my reason for no longer wishing to return to the surface.
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that... If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be the messenger, then.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or...
The remains of... So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chest...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine... I guess that you might already be familiar with this concept. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your...
Like being able... No, let's not think about comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender. That's what you say, but this topic still feels... Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of it.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information...
All right. Whatever the case, it seems like...
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were...
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, but the rain fall, and what ultimately? It seems from your expressions that you still ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to I'm afraid that I have little talent as far as I'm aware. Natlon can be
A nation of dragons?
No, unlike ancient Natlon, there is one other piece of information I got incidentally from the harbinger known as the
Captain.
I suggest that you fully ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know. I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlon.